Hey everybody, this is Raul for Bass Musician Magazine, and today we have the great honor and pleasure of another Skype interview coming to you directly from New Jersey. Bassist Hashim Bunch.
What's
And
up, guys?
Hashim plays bass with the Hypnotic Brass Ensemble and Bang Rock, and he's a real busy guy, so we had to coordinate, get everything together so we could talk to you today. Now, I'm sure that a lot of you want to know a little bit about Hash's background. So, how did you get started? Tell us about your journey in bass.
Well, the bass instrument, how I got started playing bass was actually in high school. My teacher, Mr. Newble, I approached him because I was in love with guitar. I wanted to play guitar. And I asked him if he needed a guitarist, and he said, "Man, I hate the guitar." So I felt a little discouraged from those words. So I stayed humble and I said, "Okay, have a good day." I walked out of his class, and while I was walking out, he's like, "Hey, man, I need a bass player though."
Mm-hmm.
So I thought about it, and I took on the task because my uncle, which is Sekou Bunch. He's a marvelous bass player, and I've seen him working since I was a kid. He'll always come around, and that also inspired me to play the bass. But I always wanted to play guitar. Always wanted to play guitar.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I got my start playing
Gotcha.
bass.
And did he start you on upright or on electric right off the bat?
Right on electric, right off the bat.
Gotcha. And then from that beginning, how did you continue in your growth as a musician? School's a great place to start, but what happened next?
I always stayed in school playing. I've known some kids from my neighborhood because I was a BMX rider. I hung out with all the skateboarders and stuff, and I didn't know most of them were musicians. So once they found out that I was playing bass, they was like, "Hey man, let's start a band." So
Mm-hmm.
I was in a death metal band, a punk rock band, just enjoying. I didn't really know much. I just knew sound. I could hear it, find it on the fretboard, and just remember patterns, and that's how I remembered how to play. And from then, I was in the jazz ensemble in school. I was in choir, the marching band, and just getting the full spectrum of music.
Gotcha. And from there, and of course, it's always a great moment to reinforce the value of music in school education, which unfortunately is one of those areas that's kind of at the head of the list of things that are getting cut. But
Hmm.
it's not just about being musicians. Of course, it does produce a lot of career musicians, but for people that don't even follow it, it does a whole lot of good. So getting away from my soapbox there about let's probe music, let's keep learning that. What happened after school? What made you pursue it as a profession?
Well, I don't, to be honest, I just feel like I was born to do it. Like, I've tried to put it down, walk away from it.
Hmm.
A big tragedy happened in my life. My dad was murdered. And right before I was going to graduate high school, like a couple of days before my graduation, and I dropped out of school. I didn't go finish the tests. I didn't want to play bass. I didn't want to deal with nothing. I tried to stay away.
Hmm.
But I don't know. It just brought me back to playing the bass, playing the bass, playing the bass. I just stuck with it from then.
Gotcha. Well, and I think a lot of times there's with music, it'll help us through some of the harder times, and it's what we end up turning to, and unfortunately, probably some of the greatest music there's ever been has come out of hardship. That look at the whole blues. I mean, that is it's called the blues for a reason. It's not necessarily happy tunes. I got things are rough right now, but by singing it out, by playing it out, by getting it out there, I feel better. And
Hmm.
I'm expressing myself. I'm getting a little bit off of my chest. And in some instances, and in a lot of situations, it might not be allowable for somebody to talk out their feelings, again, because as communication, it's hard. People, they get a little weird when, if you were going like, hey man, I got this thing, it's really bugging me. They might be a little reluctant, like, hey, don't talk to me, get away. I don't want to hear. Don't bring me down, man. I don't want to hear your thing. But when it's the music, what we do, we find common points where we go, yeah, I can relate to that. I've lost a loved one, or I know my best friend had somebody that lost a parent. I can relate. So it makes it so it's like the carrier of our message. So you fortunately, it brought you right back. What did you do next?
I was subconsciously, what we were just talking about, I was subconsciously pouring my emotions into my instrument, into my playing. Like, it was just like I was just constantly like, and it just felt like I was free, and once I felt that, and then I learned how to challenge that energy and keep it flowing, and just staying focused, and just, okay, keep growing, keep growing, keep growing. I kept studying. I was going to a bunch of gyms. I was always asking questions. Future bass players, anybody coming up, don't ever be afraid to ask questions. You have some musicians, that don't want to deal with you, that want to help you. Don't ever get discouraged. Just keep going. Remember, this journey is about you and you only. Whoever tries to turn you around, just know it's a hurdle. So I've dealt with a lot of hurdles, but I kept going and I kept going. And I kept fighting. I kept believing in what I believed in. And I'm here today, I'm here today, and I'm grateful, man. It's been a long journey.
Gotcha. And tell us about your music now. What kind of stuff? Because again, with playing with different groups, you probably have a variety of different kinds of music that you're involved in. Tell us about that.
Well, Hypnotic Brass Ensemble, there's 7 brothers, all from Chicago, and they're all horn players, different horns, the trumpet section, trombone section, and their music. Some people, we say now music, it's now music, but the genres, they call it like a little jazz, hip hop, funk, a little rock, some soul. It's like a mix, but the core is jazz. It's jazz music. And then Bang Rock, there's another band out of LA from Bang Rock. It's more like a hardcore metal rap band, a hip hop metal rap band. And then another project that I'm a part of called Mayor, which are acronyms for Move at Your Own Risk, is like a funk soul vibe.
Nice. Well, it's kind of interesting how music is bleeding over. The genres are kind of crossing over into each other, to the point where the lines get a little blurred, and it gets a little hard to tell. Okay, this was this, and this is that. Because we're taking a little from here and a little from there, and kind of go, okay, I'm gonna put this together, and you'll see stuff. I remember when Sergio Mendes, who's very strictly Brazilian music, did a mashup with Black Eyed Peas, and now all of a sudden it's turned into Brazilian hip hop with some stuff going on in there. You got to go, okay, what? This is a whole different. It's a different thing, But because of the exposure to each other, and I think a lot of that back in the day had to do with like neighborhoods. You're originally from Brooklyn, and I know that a lot of the players from New York will mention Latin influence because all of my Puerto Rican brothers and sisters playing it, and they're hearing it, and they're kind of going, okay, that's going to change my approach as I'm going to hit those notes, the way I'm jumping in, because I've been listening to these guys, play it out on the street or in the corner, and it gets in your head a little bit, and you're kind of going, okay, this is how I'm going to anticipate it. And for people that haven't been exposed to it, it's hard to kind of grasp some of those concepts. I played with a band, we were trying to do a Brazilian piece, and the drummer just kept playing it out like it was a 4/4 march, and I'm like, dude, this This has got like a sensual swing to it. You gotta use your imagination. This isn't soldiers marching, man.
Yeah.
This is woman on the beach walking. So that exposure, but he'd never been exposed to that, so he was just bringing what he's got. So it sounds like you're blending with your different groups. Now, are you doing any writing, composing stuff of your own?
Well, of my own project,
Yeah.
it's coming soon. It's coming real soon. It's coming. It's coming. Of course, I've been writing in my spare time. I produce. I make tracks on the computer and all Logic and all that stuff. I do stuff like that, but my own project will be coming soon. In Bang Rock and Mayor, I do a lot of writing, composing. In Hypnotic Brass, they just let me be free on the bass lines. Like they give me the chord, this is the chord, this is where it's going. And, I'll listen to what's happening and then I add what I'm feeling into it. And, if they like it, they like it. If they don't like it, they like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It works out. Well, and that tends to be, I think, again, the process where the individual, what they bring to that music, more often than not, is what will flavor it and take it kind of to the next level. So I've never heard anybody that said, I came into the gig and they limited what I was playing and then we became great. No, that's kind of the opposite. There had to be a little something extra for people to go, hey, wait a second, that was interesting. I think a great example of that is Beatles music, which was very influential. But when you listen to choices that Paul McCartney made, that you go, oh wow, that was a nice choice. I wouldn't have thought that. He kind of went a more lyrical way instead of I'm going to lay down groove kind of way. So
right.
That's fascinating. And with your own project, what genre are we kind of looking at here? I mean, you gonna tease us out with a little bit of what's coming?
Come on, Raul. Man, the funk, brother. We
Okay.
The funk alive, brother.
There we go. Well, we need to know what to be looking for, and definitely that is an important thing. Now, your voice, you get it with gear. Tell us a little bit about what your axes, your instruments of choice are.
Man, my first bass was an Ibanez, and I've been playing Ibanez since I was 12, 8, whatever. I've been playing Ibanez. I don't know. I've dealt with a lot of axes in my days, but there's nothing like Ibanez, brother. It gives me my full sound, like everything I would love to do. It just, of course, it's in the fingers. Like the equipment doesn't matter if you don't got the fingers. So. But it's something about the Ibanez bass that I get to choose. I usually don't choose them; they choose me. I walk in the store, and I just let all of the basses talk to me, and the person that talks the deepest, that's who comes home with me.
Gotcha.
And with the amps, at home I have an 810 Ampeg, and I'm running the Galen Cougar head. I have the 400 RB that I'm actually running. Then I run the 600 as well. On tour, sometimes I use a couple of other SWRs, and I love Mark Bass. Mark Bass, I love it. My strings, I actually recently got an endorsement with Black Diamond Strings, super sensitive strings, and they are amazing. Right now I have the black coated 550s on my 5-string bass, and they feel amazing, they sound amazing. And that's part of my gear. If you want to know anything else, let me know. I can shoot over some info.
There you go. I will ask you, are you a pedal guy? You incorporate a lot of pedals into your playing, or?
I do. When I'm doing like the like my funk projects and stuff like that, I do. I have a wah pedal that I use. I have I got an arsenal of pedals. I got distortion, echo, choir, octave pedals, fuzz pedals.
Gotcha. Well, and it's always good. You've obviously been, hitting this right, and things are on the move, and things are progressing for you. If you were to talk, because you mentioned asking questions, you were talking to an aspiring bassist. What advice would you have? What you say? Okay, this is the one thing I think you need to do if you want to get into doing this. What would be your advice to them?
Know the business. Everybody forgets the business side, or when you get to the business side, then it becomes a headache. And I've known some musicians that actually quit because they got into the business side of it, knowing their own business, and they said it's too much, so they just gave up. If you learn the business side, because that's the key, it's easy, it's embedded in us to write music and to perform and be able to do it. Some people get nervous. Me, I was born to do it. I've been on stage just enjoying life without music. Learn the business. Straight to the point. Learn the business. The business is important if you actually want to do it professionally. If you want to be professional, learn the business. Then you can hire some people if you like.
Sure.
Learn the business. Learn the business.
Well, and that's interesting because there's always the combination, and I think you're absolutely right. For a lot of people that are able to do this successfully, they do have that business part down, which allows them to enjoy the creative part and enjoy the artistic part, because they're making some good choices on the other end. Whereas I think we've all known a musician or two that will go, well, I only want to play this one kind of music, and I'm not open to doing anybody else's gigs, and I'm not open for any studio time because it's cramping my style. And if things are not exactly right, then I'm not going on. And a lot of those are things that are part of the business side. That you got to look at part of it as, yes, it's going to be fun, but it is a job, and you're expected to be there. You're expected to be trustworthy, and those are things that aren't written on the page. They're not on the pentagram. It's like, and there's a lot of writers, especially out of New York City, which always cracks me up, that they have books on how to be a bassist in New York, and some of the things are not musically inclined. They're like, have good transportation, have a reliable way to get places, because if they hire you for a gig, they don't want to be sitting around waiting for you to show up whenever you showed up. And
right.
The same is true with reliable gear. You can't show up and go, well, my amp's been about ready to blow up, and now there it is, boom, and it's gone, and now what are you going to do? I mean, that affects the business side versus kind of the creative side. So that is very sound advice, man. If people want to know more about what you're doing, because again, you got stuff coming down the pike, what's the best place for us to look? A link, a website? How do we stay in touch with what's going on with you?
Well, at the moment, I'm working on my website. It's my name, HashimBunch.com.
Mm-hmm.
If you actually put it in, it'll take you to the page, but I don't own the domain yet. Everything is just in process. But I do have a full functional page. It's better if you look at it on the website. But if you follow me on Facebook, my name is Hashim Bunch, or if you can't find it, facebook.com/bunch of hash.
Got it.
That's BUNCHOFHASH. And anything I'm doing, I usually post it. Sometimes I'm overseas and we just be moving. So I don't have a service overseas.
Gotcha.
So usually when I get to Wi-Fi or something, I'll usually post what's happening.
Very cool. Well, Hashim, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day and all that good stuff. Very exciting things happening, and sharing your story with us. Folks, you've seen it here. Hashim Bunch, coming to you on Bass Musician Magazine.
Thank you, Bass Musician Magazine, for having me. Thank you, Raul.
Our pleasure, man. Take care.
Peace to the world.